Dear students, let us review the process of research, an important topic, and it comprises of the following steps. The first step is to define the research problem. Now, the research problem has to be unique. It cannot be the same as what others would have accepted. So, how would you come to a research problem? You would discuss with your experts or certain colleagues or some guide who will help you to rephrase or rewrite the research problem. The second step follows the literature review. In the literature review, you will review various journals, the government reports, the books and periodicals. Those are the sources from where you will come across the studies which has taken place in the past and the studies which have been conducted initially by somebody else would also give you some idea about what is pending and what is left which is not covered under those studies which has been conducted. So it will be very easy for you to understand the gap between what has happened and what you intend to do. So obviously the literature review will help you to guide yourself in defining the area of research and also in defining what methods you will use to collect the data or to see what best can be done as far as the research problem is concerned. The third thing, which is known as the formulation of the hypothesis. Now, as explained, the hypothesis is an assumption containing a minimum of one independent and one dependent variable, which a researcher will test on the basis of the evidence. Now, under this concept, what are the 6 steps of the hypothesis testing? Now, please understand this. Any hypothesis which is a supposition would be tested with the help of the following steps. The first step, state the null hypothesis. There are 2 types of hypothesis. One is the null hypothesis, the other is the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis is denoted by H0 and the alternative hypothesis is denoted by H1. Now you need to state or you need to describe both the types of the hypothesis, the null hypothesis as well as the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis would say that there is no difference between what you have assumed and what you will find out. Whereas in the alternative hypothesis, you will state that what you are assuming will be different from what you will prove. So that means to say there will be 2 kinds of hypothesis. The third step, it is to select a level of significance. Normally the level of significance is at 5%, but in certain studies it can be 1% or it can be 10%. Depending upon the type of data which you have, you will select the level of significance. Then the fourth step would collect and summarize your sample data. That means what are the methods you will use for collecting the sample and then how will you collect the data from that sample. Finally, to make a decision to keep or reject the null hypothesis or the alternative hypothesis. The fourth step is the research design. Now, what is a research design? It's a blueprint explaining the necessary procedures for collection and analysis of the data and would depend upon the cost, the time, and the sampling design. These are the 3 basic factors which are very essential when you select the research design. The fifth is the data collection. Data collection is of 2 types, the secondary data and the primary data. The secondary data collected, which has been collected already and is existing. whereas the primary data is collected by the researcher through the help of interviews or surveys and questionnaires or the schedules. And the last step is the data analysis. How would you analyze the data? There would be t-test, z-test, ANOVA, correlation, or regression. These are the few statistical tools which you will use for data analysis. And after the data analysis, the researcher will make certain judgments or some interpretations which will lead to certain conclusions. And the last step of process of research is to write a research report. That is very important. What you have done, you will now write in a proper report and would submit that report to the person for whom you have conducted the study, or to the university, or to the company which has given you this power to do that research. This is how the 8 steps of the research would be required for the entire process of research. Thank you.